Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now, Wednesday, February 22nd. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, ready to break down the Wednesday slate, which is not the most glamorous Wednesday card you'll ever see with just 3 games on tap, but we will break them down in depth as we always do here on the show. We'll also look back on Tuesday, which included another just absolutely fun, entertaining, enjoyable betcast last night. And honestly, I think it broke a record in terms of all the betcasts we've done to this point, in terms of the number of people that were on our live stream joining us on the betcast at once. I mean, we were at the full capacity for most of the night. And it only got to the late games when finally we started to see, less. You're able to join the betcast if you wanted to, but for the first 2 hours, solid. Like, it was 10 fucking people in the betcast stream. It was, and we had to basically send people away. We said, hey, we can't let you in. There's no more room. No room at the inn last night for a large part of that betcast, which tells you that this concept of doing these live betcasts, it keeps growing. It's getting more popular, and we can't make it happen without the people. And I said that last night on Twitter, and that's what makes the betcasts fun. It's the company we surround ourselves with on the betcast, the great viewers and listeners of this show. And it was a fun betcast. And boy, it turned from a kind of a rocky beginning with the live wagering on the betcast last night to one hell of a strong finish. I mean, we're cashing draw bets like Vancouver and Nashville with the Canucks with a miraculous 2 goals in the final minute and change. We kept the Oilers coming back. What a great call by our guy John Massey on that to take the Oilers in regulation at plus 280. The Chicago Blackhawks, it pays off for Alex B. Smith going homer last night with the Blackhawks coming back from a third period deficit to beat the Vegas Golden Knights, although it would have been even better if one of the best goals I've seen from Sir Patrick Kane in a very long time was a goal that just happened a split second sooner. And apparently I saw a replay of that moment on television this morning of that moment, and they actually had the clock in the corner of the screen, and the puck did actually cross the goal line when it was already 0.0. So they actually made the right call on that. It is unfortunate, but yeah, it did go in after the clock had expired. So unfortunately, that's the case. But what a hell of a shot it was. It's one of the best howitzer and one-time slap shots I've seen in quite some time, and it was just like no chance at all for the goaltender. You would have loved a beauty goal like that to hold up and be the overtime winner, but it was the right call. It went in after time expired. But Alex, it was a great betcast last night once again.
It was absolutely a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody who watched. Thanks to everybody who joined. Like I said, I think we had it started off with the 2 of us, and then it went to about 5 or 6 people right away, and then it was pretty much 9 to 10 people with people waiting for the most of the night. So that was really cool to see. And like I said, we had about maybe a steady of between 90 and 110 people that were watching throughout the betcast. So we love to see that and hear that, and it's gaining traction. We've had people who have just started watching or just found out about us recently. Even my editor for the website I write for, he mentioned today about how he saw all the tweets of the Ice Guys overnight last night, and saw the betcast, and he actually watched a few minutes of it himself. So this is gaining momentum, and it's thanks to you guys. You guys, spreading the word, telling hockey fans, even if you're not the biggest of a bettor, but I think hockey fans who may not have a group that they really kind of talk and watch games with, or want to be part of something like that. I think this is a fun atmosphere for the fans who, even if they don't have that much of a betting interest, or they don't live bet, they might have a couple of games a night or something. I think this is more of a fun atmosphere, and it's a good way to learn on how to live bet. Like I said, we're all kind of giving out pointers and pointing out different things, and just I think it makes you see the game better as well, not even just from a live betting perspective, but as a fan. Having basically we literally had 9 extra sets of eyes other than our own to follow what was going on throughout a busy night in the NHL, and that's what it's all about.
It is. It's basically, and we've talked about this, a lot of the usual concepts that are go-to concepts that Alex and I roll with. If we like a live over, we wait for the 6.5 to fall to 5.5, or wait for a 7 to fall to 6.5, and maybe look for a plus price if you can. Just those kind of things. If you just wait patiently, and maybe you'll get the number that you're looking for. And then you've got great situational bets that you can make with live betting. Part of the thought process, I'm sure, with John, and even for me, it made sense with betting the Oilers, is they're desperate. They're only down by a goal. They're at home. The Flyers are on the second of a back-to-back on the road and the tail end of this very long Western road trip. And you figured maybe those road-weary jet legs would finally start to catch up to them in that third period last night. And sure enough, after the Flyers were pretty much the better team in the first two periods, it's amazing how, all of a sudden they hit that physical wall a little bit last night, that final period of a very long road trip, and Edmonton ramped up their game, and it was the opposite in the third period. The Oilers were the dominant team. They outshot the Flyers heavily in that third period, and of course they come back and win 4-2. So those kind of situations are things you can take advantage of with live betting as well. When you see these teams that are at the end of a road trip, maybe they're hanging on, and you just don't worry that maybe in the third period they're going to run out of gas, the final period of the number of games that the Flyers had in a row on the road. And that's exactly kind of what we saw last night. In terms of last night's recap, obviously we had a lot of games. The Capital struggles continue. Great job by Detroit, and really want to salute them. As certainly someone that had them as a plus 140 underdog last night was very happy. But Detroit gets a very impressive 3-1 road win. They shut down the Capitals, who just can't score goals right now without Alex Ovechkin. The offense is just miserable of late for the Washington Capitals. And I love the way this team dug in deep when Dylan Larkin got that very, very questionable game misconduct call. Yeah, it was a hit. I don't think he should have made it, but I don't know if it was one that warranted game misconduct or being thrown out of the game. Certainly was a penalty. I don't know if I'd go that far with the game, especially because he's not a repeat offender like some other players might be in that situation. So I thought they could have eased up a little bit on Larkin there, but sure enough, they overcome it. I think what it was huge was on that 5-minute power play that the Capitals had in that game, down 1-0 at the time. Detroit scores a shorthanded goal, and it felt to me on the betcast last night watching that game, Detroit's going to find a way after a big goal like that, scoring the only goal on, actually Washington then scored their one goal right after that, but you just felt, that Detroit was going to find a way at that point, and they get the 3-1 win last night. Tampa Bay 6-1 over Anaheim. It took a while for the goals to erupt in that game, but once they did, there was no stopping it, and the game ends up going over the total, which made me very happy. Montreal with the upset of the night, quite possibly in the NHL, 5-2 win over the New Jersey Devils. A very, very strong game in net from Sam Montembeault for the New Jersey Devils. He was absolutely outstanding in that game, especially in the third period when the Devils were really mounting a charge to try to get back into that game. And some missed opportunities, really, for the Devils. And at the end of the day, you got to give Montreal credit. Like I said, this is a very depleted team right now, and they had struggled on the road, but those struggles did not carry over into last night as they get a 5-2 win. If you bet Montreal, you were getting them upwards of plus 280, plus 290 in that game last night. So a big price if you took Montreal. I know our guy Ice X did in the chat, so salute to him for taking the Montreal Canadiens there last night. Carolina 4-1 against St. Louis. See, I'm not totally shocked Montreal beat New Jersey. I would have been shocked if St. Louis beat Carolina, and of course they didn't. And St. Louis is just high up on the bet against list for me right now. They just look like a team. I don't want to say they're mailing it in, but when you're a team that's battling for Stanley Cups and a playoff team year in and year out like St. Louis, if you're the holdover players from those teams like Braden Shen, Robert Thomas, Colton Parayko, Krug, Leddy, players like that, you really feel like, wow, you just don't have that same, adrenaline when you're on the ice. I mean, you realize, hey, we're not going anywhere. They're selling off all our players. And it's a really, really upsetting feeling, especially for some of the veterans that are still there on that Blues. Do you think Braden Shen's a fucking happy camper right now? Not a chance. I mean, seeing the team just broken up like this, especially because these are teammates of his that he was with for a long time. And it affects you mentally. And what does that mean? The mental, mind games, if you will, or the mental, your thought process, just, wow, they're breaking this shit up. We're not going anywhere. Season's pretty much coming to an end for us. And it's just, I don't want to say it impacts your preparation, but I think it does a little bit. I think it does. It takes a toll, and it's harder for you to perform at your best on the ice as a result. And I think we're seeing that with the Blues right now. Not a team I'm interested in backing anytime soon. They lose 4-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes last night. Minnesota with a very, very good defensive effort last night, 2-1. This might be the way they have to win games right now, because I still don't love what I'm seeing from them in terms of lack of offense. I mean, they are still struggling to put the puck in the net. But hey, if they're going to get great performances defensively from the entire team, and Philip Gustafson's going to play great like he did last night, and you can find a way to win, maybe that's your recipe moving forward, because certainly they're still having major issues scoring goals. But they found a way last night. When you're only going to give up one goal, you're going to have a good chance to win the game, and Minnesota was able to win last night. We talked about Chicago 3-2 in a shootout. Unfortunately, Kane's goal did not stand, but they ended up getting the shootout victory 3-2 in that game. Nashville, the crazy 5-4 shootout win against Vancouver. Canucks tying it late. We cashed the draw. My best bet on the show was the over in that Canucks Predators game. It also cashes. Again, we were all on Philadelphia in that 4-2 win against the Edmonton Oilers last night, or the Edmonton win, I should say, 4-2 against Philadelphia, coming back in the third period to get the job done there. And we talk about it as basically a spot where it looked like Philadelphia just ran out of gas in the third period, and that's exactly what we saw. And then, of course, we have Toronto-Buffalo, where it was all Leafs. They shellacked the Sabres early in that game. They're up 4-0. They make it interesting, Buffalo. You got to give them credit. The third period, the Leafs kind of fell asleep. Sabres kept playing, which you give them credit for, even though they knew they probably weren't coming back. They cut it to 5-3, but the Leafs end up with the empty net goal. And the guy that scored the empty net goal is the guy that had absolutely one hell of a night for the Toronto Maple Leafs last night. And you guys know what his name is. Roll it. O'Reilly Auto Parts. There we go. We're coming for our royalties, O'Reilly Auto Parts. You better believe it after these last few days and the week or so. But yes, Ryan O'Reilly was the star of the night. Not only his first goal with the Toronto Maple Leafs last night, but also we're talking about a goal a minute later for his second goal with the Leafs. And then to top it all off, he puts it into the empty net and gets the hat trick last night in Buffalo. What a night for Ryan O'Reilly. What a night for that line. And now there's a dilemma, Alex, with Sheldon Keefe, because the initial thought was, I'm going to put Matthews, Tavares, and O'Reilly down the middle as my 1, 2, 3 centers. But since O'Reilly's been with the Leafs, he's been on the second line, playing with Tavares and Marner. And now the thought process is that line has looked really good in their first few games together since O'Reilly's been with the Leafs. Do you really make that adjustment now and push him back to the third line center spot? Like him centering the second line, shifting Tavares over to the left wing and Marner on the right wing on that second line, it has been a unbelievable chemistry, these last couple of games. So maybe that's going to be something they stick with as long as that line keeps playing this well. So, you'd like to think maybe come playoff time, you change it up, because just having that 1, 2, 3 depth down the middle would be great, but it's hard to argue with the results that second line for the Leafs are delivering right now, highlighted again by a terrific hat-trick performance from O'Reilly last night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's, it was the thing I said before the game started. I didn't like anything in that side or total pregame, but I said, Toronto, we get to see what they're made of after, that bad loss. And we talked about this time and time again, where they've had some of these losses as big favorites, but then they turn around, and when they do step up, they step up in a big way. And so O'Reilly setting the pace, scoring early, getting those, 2 goals. And like I said, Toronto just never really looking back. That group of O'Reilly, Marner, Tavares, I mean, that's just been they've been dominant in that contest, and they're going to have to continue to be dominant moving forward. That's the reason why O'Reilly was brought into this lineup, to shore up and solidify offense, and also give that veteran presence too. His I think his biggest asset is he's been there. He's won a cup. He's been through these battles long enough with different teams to the point where now you know, being in that locker room when this Leafs team that had to get out of the first round in 20 years, and when they, you know, kind of feeling low about themselves, maybe they get down and lose game one, he's the guy who's going to have to step up and really take over that locker room, because Matthews and Marner and Tavares, these guys, they don't really know yet. They know what they've been through, but they don't know what it takes to get past that hurdle. So having that veteran presence in the locker room, I think the biggest asset for adding O'Reilly to this roster. But obviously what he does in the ice is going to help as well.
That's huge, is his cup winning experience, the leadership that he's displayed over the years, particularly in St. Louis. Now, look, people are going to make a big deal. And I know there's always the people that hate the Leafs so much that they're going to find every negative to say about the deal. And I know there are people that said, well, O'Reilly's having one of his worst years in a long time, offensively. And, he hasn't been putting up the points like we've become accustomed to. Well, first of all, he was injured for a large part earlier this year. And second of all, when you see things not going well in St. Louis, it's the whole team wasn't as good this year,
Right.
and everybody's production dropped. That's why they're selling. That's why they're not going to be a playoff team. Everybody's play declined this year. And if anything, Ryan O'Reilly's going to be getting, it's almost like a pick-me-up getting out of St. Louis and going to Toronto. I'm right back in a Stanley Cup hunt again. So I think you're going to get him playing great. And I think it just re-energizes you, recharges your batteries again. And you're probably going to get the best version of O'Reilly. And certainly it looked that way last night.
And I'm sorry, but wasn't it just like maybe a week and a half ago where everybody was saying about, well, Patrick Kane, okay, well, even if his hip is fine, he hasn't been scoring. Now all of a sudden here he is with, 5 goals, could have easily been 6 goals over the last 3 games. And now everybody wants to throw him into a trade again. So, these
great
things
comparison. People saying the same thing about Kane, that he, always washed up. He's had a terrible year. Right. You don't think going to try to win a Stanley Cup in Dallas or Vegas or wherever he ends up is not going to recharge him and get him reinvigorated again, right, and adrenaline flowing and get him playing his best again? What do you think?
And to be fair, how many times have we seen trades happen where a guy's been hot and then he gets moved and he's just, I think about Jerome McGinley. Was it Jerome McGinley that got moved to Boston that year? They went on the run toward the Cup, and he didn't do much of anything compared to what he'd been doing before the trade. I think about like with Erik Karlsson, the numbers that he had. He was blistering hot the first 2 months of the season. He's still been one of the better scoring defensemen in the league. But if he gets moved, does that automatically mean he's going to get back to where he was in October, scoring 4 goals and 3 assists every week? I doubt it. So, we have to kind of pace our expectations and realize that good players on bad teams are not going to have the best of numbers all the time. And even if they do or don't, it still doesn't reflect what they do when they're in a new environment. That's why the trades are being made.
Yep. No question about that. And you're right. Ryan O'Reilly grew up just outside of Toronto and grew up a Leaf fan. So, yeah, I'm sure you don't have to worry about lack of incentive to and excitement for him playing with the Leafs. Just like in our guy Terry Edelman in the chat is hoping and praying that Brock Besser returns home to the state of hockey in Minnesota. I'm hearing that's picking up more steam. I will say that that chatter and those talks about maybe the Canucks sending Brock Besser home back to Minnesota to join the Wild. And the Wild have been buyers all along. And really a couple months ago, they were definitely buyers. It's just this little swoon they had coming, which was so bad coming out of the All-Star break, which they've now at least temporarily righted the ship a little bit with these wins against Dallas, Nashville, and LA. Now all of a sudden, I think they're still buyers. I think they've got to look at it that way. They're in a playoff spot right now, second wild card spot in the West. So we will see if Bill Guerin makes a move here and tries to get a Besser. They need certainly a forward. That's got to be the focus right now because they need a little more offense right now. Too much of it has been on the shoulders of Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, and Zuccarello, and now Hartman, thank goodness, has stepped up a little bit the last couple games for Minnesota as well. But, it's a very 3 or 4 forward group that you can count on offensively, and you don't get anything from the bottom 6. What the hell's happened to Shaw and Connor Dewar and some of these other guys that were expected to come up here? Boldy's kind of cooled off lately. Marco Rossi, we keep waiting for his development to be good enough to be a consistent NHL player, and he's not at that level yet. So, yeah, trading for a forward, I think, is high up on the to-do list here, priority list before next Friday's deadline for Bill Guerin. No question about it.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, with the the cap issues that are holding back the Wild, they might need a third team to jump in to get some kind of a deal done. But I think they can do that. And with Jordan Greenway and Matt Dumba having some huge cap hits, I could see one or if not both of those guys being moved, and maybe they're split between Vancouver and a third party. So it'll be something to definitely keep an eye on for sure.
Yep, no doubt about that. So keep an eye on those things and those developments. And the trade deadline is just a little over a week away. So the excitement is building. And we've already had some big-time deals already the last few weeks, no question. And only Horvat, Tarasenko, O'Reilly. And there's going to be more to come, obviously, before next Friday. All right, let's get into tonight's card. We've got just 3 games on tap, and we'll begin with the Winnipeg Jets and the New York Islanders, UBS Arena. Islanders minus 115 home favorites, 5.5 being the total in this game. This is one of those situations where, for me, it's two teams that are in questionable situations, I guess you could say, coming into tonight. I mean, the Winnipeg Jets got a nice win on Monday night, 4-1 over the New York Rangers, clearly on the back of Connor Hellebuck, who was absolutely terrific. 51 shots faced in that game against the Rangers, and he was absolutely outstanding. The reason pretty much that the Jets won that game 4-1. The New York Islanders, they're coming back now off a very busy stretch of hockey where they played Friday night against Pittsburgh. They got dominated, but they won 5-4. They play on a back-to-back in Boston. Tough spot. They lose 6-2. The Bruins pretty much drill them. They jumped on them early in the first period. They didn't look back. And then after that, we saw the Islanders end up with another game against Pittsburgh where I thought they got outplayed again by the Penguins, and they still ended up on the winning side of it against Pittsburgh in the rematch in the Berg the other night. 4-2 win over the Penguins. And both goaltenders who we expect to see in between the pipes tonight for this game are coming off just spectacular games where they pretty much stole the game for their respective teams. Sorokin did that for the Islanders. Hellebuck did that for the Jets. And guess who? It looks like we are going to see that matchup indeed tonight. Sorokin is confirmed for the Islanders, and it is going to be likely Connor Hellebuck for the Winnipeg Jets. So the two goalies that dazzled us and stole the fucking show on Monday night in those 2 standalone games for their teams are going to be going head-to-head tonight in this matchup. So that should hopefully lead to some very, very entertaining goaltending duel between them here tonight. Winnipeg's gone under in 5 straight. The Islanders, though, they've kind of been trending more over. Their offense has been fine. They've gone 4-1-1 to the under in their, or 4-1-1 to the over, I beg your pardon, 4-1-1 to the over in their last 6 games. So the Islanders have been trending over. The Jets have been trending under. I think I would lean to the Islanders. If I had to pick a side, I'd lean to the Islanders here at minus 115. But I don't love it. The under, but 5.5. I don't love the number where it is. I don't ever love betting 5.5s to the under. Could you look maybe at a draw in this game? I could see it. I think you can make a case for it. If you actually look, the Islander-Pittsburgh game, it was a 1-goal game, and it was an empty net goal to put it away. New Islanders-Penguins, the Friday game almost went to OT. The Islanders had 2 games before that went beyond regulation against Montreal and Ottawa. So, this might be a sprinkle on the draw game for me. And again, keep in mind the situation here with these 2 teams. The other team's not going to care. I should say both of these teams, they're not going to care if the other team gets a point. That's the key when you've got these Eastern Conference versus Western Conference matchups. They're each in their own race, and they're not competing with one another, obviously, because they're in different conferences. So if the Jets get 1 point in this game, the Islanders won't give 2 shits. And on the flip side, if the if the Islanders get a point in this game, if it goes to overtime, the Jets aren't going to give 2 shits, because they're in their own different races. So I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game, close game. I could see that. So the draw, I'd take a shot at it here in this game. And for a game I really don't love either way, that's something I might sprinkle a few dollars on here, is get involved in the draw here with the Jets and the Islanders. What do you think here, Alex? Winnipeg, New York Islanders.
Yeah, it's tough. I probably won't end up having anything on this when it's all said and done. But like I said, I'm leaning toward under, but it's just so hard to do with a 5.5. So I was suggesting maybe try to look for a live under if we can get a goal early. the Islanders have been giving up a ton of shots, so maybe the Jets can kind of capitalize and get off to a lead. We did see them. I did cash a first period money line winner with Winnipeg, so maybe that's a bit of a look. But just wonder with Hellebuck facing that many shots and having that great a performance, can he follow it up and play again and another quality start? And we know he can. He's done that before, but it's just a lot to ask from him, especially as it gets later in the year. The minutes pile up. That's a question we always have with Hellebuck. We know he's a top-tier goalie, but he just plays so much, has to do so much every game, make a lot of 10-bell saves night in and night out. You just wonder when he does have that odd game off, when it's going to happen. And usually when he does have it, it's pretty rough. So maybe look for an under in game, but I like some spots in the other two games a bit more, so I'm staying away from this.
All right, and as far as the prop market goes here in this game, you got to be careful because I think we could see a low-scoring battle, and I think both goalies come into that. I don't know how much. You'd have to ask them. You'd have to ask Ilya Sorokin. You'd have to ask Connor Hellebuck, how much does the Vezina Trophy mean to them? Because I'll say this right now, if it's not going to be won by Linus Ullmark, let's say Linus Ullmark gets hurt or something happens or he just all of a sudden he forgets how to stop a puck. Who the fuck knows? Maybe that's one of those two things happen down the stretch. But if that happens, who's next in line probably to claim that Vezina Trophy this year? These two guys that we're going to see in net tonight probably, Sorokin and Hellebuck. They're both very much alive in that race. So I think it's one of those games where, hey, we're competing with that guy, for maybe the Vezina. Like if it means that much to them, winning the Vezina Trophy as the best goaltender in the league this season, then I think both goalies are definitely going to want to step up and play at their absolute best, be at their absolute best here tonight in this game between them. So for that reason, with the props, I'm going to try to be a little cautious. I mean, if you're going to get involved in anything prop-wise tonight, you got to put Brock Nelson in some kind of SGP. He's just been automatic with a point. What is it, 12 of the last 13 or something like that? He scored a point for the New York Islanders. I think the captain, Anders Lee, is a great look right now. He's heating up big time. He realizes these are big games. I'm the fucking captain. I've got to be the guy to lead us. He has 5 points and 3 goals in the last 3 games right now for the Islanders. His shots on goal have gone over in 3 straight games. I think anything Anders Lee is a good bet tonight. Over shots, point prop, goal prop, that kind of stuff. Yeah, Sorokin saves. I like that. I think he'll get peppered. The Islanders are giving up a lot of shots right now. There's no question about that. They are giving up a lot of shots, and it can't be sitting well with Lane Lambert. But 46 to Pittsburgh, 44 to Pittsburgh, 34 to Ottawa, 34 to Vancouver, 45 to Vegas in a recent game. So, all kinds of issues lately with shot allowances being way too high for this Islanders team. So the Sorokin saves might be worth a look in this game. I agree with what Evanovsky is saying in our chat there. Anders Lee props are good for this one. Bo Horvat shots as well. He's still been trending more over than under, so I like that. As far as the Jets go, Morrissey shots on goal. We've talked about that. Still worth a look, minus 120. Mark Scheifele's really been shooting the puck a lot lately for the Winnipeg Jets here in this game. And this is one of those games where if you don't think the offense is necessarily going to be there, and I don't think we're going to see a shootout by any stretch of the imagination, this might be a game where you put more money on the shots on goal and a little less money on the actual goal props and the point props and the assist props, because we are talking about goalies that are capable of, slamming the door shut and playing at a very high level. But yeah, Scheifele's gone 3+ shots on goal for the Winnipeg Jets in 6 of the last 7 games. His shots on goal prop is only 2.5. So this is a good prop game still. More of the shots on goal. Lee props. Lee is the one guy I would look at for a goal and a point because he's been that good lately. And the prices are still reasonable with Anders Lee props in the goal market and the point market as well going into this game. Because I'm bringing up a bet stamp right now, and if you look at Anders Lee, just to get a point, it's minus 128, minus 130. That's a great price still, considering how he's produced. To get a goal, plus 215. Like I said, the shots on goal is over 2.5, even money. Scheifele over 2.5 shots on goal. Again, I think worth a look at minus 110. Josh Morrissey over shots on goal, worth a look again, and that's not a bad price there, over 2.5. Pierre-Luc Dubois, there's another one for the Jets, over 2.5, minus 140. He's been getting over that shot number a lot lately. So more of a shots on goal prop game and a prop game in general for me, but I think I will sprinkle a little bit on the draw because we are talking about getting such a really good price in what I think is going to be a close, tight, competitive game. So again, the draw bet is around plus 320 right now at Caesars. If you are interested in the draw for this game. All right, 162 live viewers. We appreciate it very much. Hit the like button and shout out to our podcast listeners. We've got the remaining 2 games on this very short Wednesday card coming up right after we hear from Gramco.
All right, whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products such as vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you, and is also available at many American retailers as well. Get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. If you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code ICEGUYS, you get 25% off of any order, and all orders on the site that are $50 and higher are shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, good stuff. There we go. Gramco, get involved with that. We're back, and it's time now for our next game here on the Wednesday slate, Chicago Blackhawks and Dallas Stars. We've got, obviously, Dallas, huge favorites here, minus 430 in this game, and the total 6 across the board. Now, I get it. This is a Dallas team that is better than Chicago. We know that. This is a Dallas team that's going to have a significant rest advantage going into this hockey game. Chicago's coming in on a back-to-back and a thrilling comeback overtime win last night against the Vegas Golden Knights. So there's certainly a lot of situationals that add up to point to the Dallas Stars. And coming off a bad home loss as well to the Columbus Blue Jackets on Sunday. So they've had 3 days off since that game. Think about that. They played that game on Sunday. Actually, sorry, Saturday they played that game. And now they've had 3 days off. And I think with extended rest, let me look at the record for Dallas. 4-0. Wow. 4-0 this year on extended rest. So, I mean, this is definitely, it feels like a game they should win. They got to win. They got to have it. They should win this hockey game. No question about that. But I don't like the form of this hockey team right now from what I've seen. I'm seeing defensive lapses. I'm seeing Ottinger look okay, but I think he can pick his game up to another level, quite honestly. I'm seeing them all of a sudden. The offense has gone completely silent during this 4-game losing streak. They've scored a grand total of 5 goals in the last 4 games combined for this Dallas Stars team. And to me, that is concerning. There's no question about that. It bothers me like crazy that this Dallas team is 4-0 on extended rest. That bugs me as someone that's kind of interested in taking a shot with the big underdog here. But at the end of the day, Dallas, I don't like their form. Chicago is coming in here on a second night of back-to-backs, like I said, after the big win against Vegas, and they are 0-9. So we're talking about a team. Chicago is 0-9 on a back-to-back, and Dallas is 4-0 on extended rest. So you've got combined trends that say there's no way Chicago wins tonight. There's no way Dallas loses tonight. So I understand all of that. But I'm sprinkling here on the bet and if you watched the betcast last night, you know I like this, and I still do. Believe it or not, even with those trends staring me right in the face that the Blackhawks have not won on a back-to-back this year, and the Stars are perfect, undefeated on extended rest. But I'm going to go with it still, and that's the double chance here on the Chicago Blackhawks. That's Chicago or draw in this game. It's up to plus 200 now. It's because there's money that's come in on Dallas here in this game. So Chicago or draw, plus 200. What that bet entails is that the only way that bet does not win is if Dallas wins in regulation, which could happen. I get it. It could be 4-1 Dallas tonight, and they mean business, and they come out and they smoke Chicago. It's very plausible that could happen. I totally admit that. But you're talking about a Dallas team in poor form right now, a Chicago team that is likely going to have the young kid, Jackson Stauber in net, And that's the big part of this handicap for me, is that Jackson Stauber might be in net. He's been very impressive, very poised. I've liked what I've seen from him. He's made some really nice saves. He's been very, very composed in between the pipes. Throw out the fact that he was undrafted, throw out the fact that he played at Providence College and all this stuff, which made you, and the AHL numbers were mediocre. I get all of that, but he has played well here in this situation since the All-Star break, since he's been getting these opportunities. He's 4-1 for the Chicago Blackhawks as a starting goal. Just beat Toronto, in his last start. That's pretty damn impressive. 2.77 goals against average, 9-12 save percentage. So you know what? I know all the trends say Dallas, 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 Dallas. I'm doing the old not so fast, my friend. They're not playing the best hockey right now. Dallas, they are not worthy of a minus 430 tag right now with their current form. So for me to be safe, because I could see this going OT and Dallas pulls it out, kind of like what we saw with Nashville last night against Chicago. But as long as this game goes to overtime, the bet will win, regardless of who wins. That's what makes this bet a great option, in my opinion. So Chicago, draw, double chance, plus 200 for me. Alex, what do you think here? Blackhawks Stars.
Yeah, I did grab a little bit of that at plus 180 over at BetMGM because we talked about that last night during the betcast. But I'm going a little bit heavier on the draw, and I was able to grab that at plus 480 this morning. I thought that was an insane number for a team that's been basically, 6 of the last 9 games have gone to OT. We've seen some close battles between these two teams. We saw the last 1-0 game that the Hawks played was against Dallas last year in a game that had ample chances back and forth, but they just couldn't find the back of the net, and goes all the way to a shootout, no less. So this is definitely one of those spots where, Dallas, yes, they need to win, but must win doesn't mean will win this time of the year. And they'll certainly won't be risking, trying to get 2 points if they're tied late in regulation. They're going to want to try to get out of there with at least one and then sort it out in overtime or a shootout. So this is a great spot for the draw. Hawks have been playing tight. Jackson Stauber's been playing very well. I can easily see this one. Whether it goes in OT, that's a coin flip. But if the Hawks play well enough early and can get a jump on Dallas, they could easily grab a win. But I feel more comfortable with this one going into OT.
There we go. Good stuff indeed. This is the only TNT game. I'm just realizing that now. They have no doubleheader tonight. This is the only TNT game tonight.
Which I don't understand that. I mean, they could have easily made this game a 7:00 start and then put the next game we'll talk about late at night. So,
yeah, they could have done that, but make a doubleheader. But it is what it is. And Rich H with the great point. Dallas has 1 regulation win since the All-Star break. You go back further than that. The last 10 games, Dallas has 2 regulation wins. That's it. And you know what the wins were against? Arizona and Minnesota when Minnesota was struggling. That's it. I mean, so other than that, they've either lost or they've gone to overtime or a shootout in every game. So 8 of the last 10 have at least been Dallas either losing or going to overtime or a shootout to win. So that's why I think that's an 80% angle favoring the Chicago draw double chance tonight at plus 200. So, that's to me why I think it's worth a shot.
6 of 9 Dallas games go to OT or shootout. 2 of the last 3 for the Hawks, and 3 of the last 5 between the two teams. So when you have that combination, you have to have draw in some form or fashion.
Yeah, exactly. And as far as props go, there are a few that I like. Mason Marchment, shots on goal uptick for him. I think that's worth a look. Miro Heiskanen's the number one. Miro Heiskanen, we've talked about him. Miro Heiskanen's been going over shots on goal repeatedly. It's a great bet. It's still only minus 150 with the juice, with the price delay on that Miro Heiskanen over 2.5 shots on goal. Patrick Kane, I think you keep on taking it. What did he have? 7 shots on goal last night. I mean, this is a guy that definitely, and look, this is a team that he might end up being with next week, the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars are at or near the top of the list in terms of potential destinations for Patrick Kane at the trade deadline. So this definitely has that feel of, you want to see what I can do for you, Dallas? I'll show you what I can do for you here tonight in this game against a team he might end up playing for next. Now, that's not to discount the other teams that are going to be interested, like Vegas. There are a bunch of teams. Carolina, I think they'd still kick the tires on Patrick Kane. But I think those 3, I think that's where he's going to end up, Alex, personally. I'll say it right now. If Patrick Kane gets dealt, he's going to Dallas, Vegas, or Carolina. I think that's where he's going.
Yeah, I would believe Carolina before anything else out of those 3, because like I said, we talked about it last night. What does the other team have to offer? And, it just seems like of those three, Carolina has the most. And if I'm Kyle Davidson, I'm trying everything I can to figure out what it takes for Pyotr Kochetkov to be part of that package if I'm sending Patrick Kane there. That's going to be a tough ask, obviously, especially with two UFAs that are the goaltenders right now, and Anderson and Ronta. But that would be my bargaining chip more than even a first-round pick, honestly, from them, because you've already got your own number one. You've got another number one. If they're zeroing in on the Hurricanes, that's my first person. That's the top of the piece that I'm trying to get if I'm Kyle Davidson in the office for the Hawks.
Yeah, over 2.5 minus 150 for Kane shots at a couple places, and then there's some books that have moved it to 3.5 at a plus price. So if you're betting the Kane shots prop, make sure you shop around. You can go 2.5 with juice or 3.5 with a plus price, depending on which you prefer. He's also, plus. This might be one of those games here. We certainly the goal prop plus 290, is worth a sprinkle here in this game as well, in my opinion. Patrick Kane assist as well. Patrick Kane assist is like plus 130 tonight in this game. So that I might go with that. A little goal prop, a little assist prop for Patrick Kane tonight.
Especially if you like Max Domi to score, that's one that usually kind of tag along.
Yeah, a little bit of, exactly. It's basically goes hand in hand. There's no question about that. And, Max Domi, I just want to see what he's been doing lately, because they've been playing on that top line, Kane and Kurashev lately. Max Domi, let me just see here. I'm looking at it right now. He's on a 4-game assist streak. Yeah, 3, 4, 6, 7 assists in the last 4 hockey games for Max Domi going into tonight. So how about that for straight? Let's see what his assist prop is. I'll put that on the card. Plus 185. Holy shit. To get an assist, Max Domi. He's had 7 in the last 4 games. He's on a 4-game assist streak. 7 in those 4 games. And he's plus 180 to plus 185 to get an assist tonight. Now, I get it. It's Dallas. They can be stingy. Jake Ottinger, if he plays well, it might be hard to get those goals past him tonight. But I think at that price, it's still worth a look here tonight. No question. And if you actually want to get really, really bold here, I mean, maybe you just roll with it, because maybe he's found struck lightning in a bottle. Maybe you hope you're not a day late and $1 short on this one. But look, I see the price out there at plus 540, plus 590 at FanDuel to score a goal. Why not roll with the red hot young defenseman Cole Gutman here for the Chicago Blackhawks? He scored in back-to-back games. He scored against Toronto, scored last night against Vegas, plus 590. Why not? Just a couple of bucks. Why not? He's got some confidence right now. He's got a little swag from that blue line. If anything, when you score in back-to-back games, you're going to think, hey, I can do this every night. He'll jump into the play and he'll try to make something happen again here tonight for the Blackhawks. So it's been very impressive here from Cole Gutman in this one. Actually, I keep calling him a defenseman, center for the Chicago Blackhawks, centerman. But they're moving him up to the second line as well. Which I don't think he was on that up that far up the lineup initially, but they got him centering Radish and Tyler Johnson now.
He wasn't slated for that originally, so that's a move.
No, that's Luke Richardson's rewarding the kid for making an impact here the last 2 games. Cole Gutman centering the second line, and plus 590 at FanDuel to score a goal tonight. I mean, why not? A couple bucks, worth it. All right, next up, Calgary, Arizona, final game of this Wednesday slate. We've got Calgary minus 230, road favorites, 6 the total in this one. I mean, it right now. If you lay this price with Calgary, it's going to be 3-3 in the third period, and you're going to be biting your fingernails. That's just the way it is with Calgary right now. Nothing's coming easily for them. They lose to the Flyers, of course, 4-3. Again, they can't follow up one of their better games in recent memory against the Rangers, and they end up losing 4-3 at home to the Philadelphia Flyers in their last game. This Flames team it's been a chore for them to string multiple wins together. They beat Columbus, they lose to Chicago, they beat Seattle, they lose to the Rangers, they beat Buffalo, they lose to Ottawa, where they had that collapse in the third period. They beat the Rangers, they lose the next game to Philadelphia. So they've just had all kinds of problems with consistency, this Calgary Flames team. It's not a timely goal here, not a timely save there. That's the problem right now with Calgary. Now, they've dominated this Arizona team. They've won 6 straight head-to-head meetings over the Arizona Coyotes. Will that continue tonight? That remains to be seen. Suddenly, this team is becoming a little bit more of an over team because of just, the defensive and goaltending woes that have kind of been creeping into their game. Arizona, since the All-Star break, they've been a tough out, and they have gone beyond regulation, 5 of 6 games. 5 of their last 6 games have gone beyond regulation. So if you're talking about a game where the draw could be live, maybe this game with the Flames and the Coyotes tonight. I like the over in this game. And as far as a side or total in any of these 3 games, this is the one I like the most. I think it gets over 6 tonight with these 2 teams. Now, it's Dan Vladar confirmed in net for the Calgary Flames as they pretty much continue to go back and forth from one game to the next with their starting goaltenders. Karel Vejmelka will be in between the pipes here for the Coyotes tonight for this matchup. But I do want to point out something regarding Vejmelka. Believe it or not, Ingram's actually stepped up his game, and you could argue that Ingram's been every bit as good, if not better, in the short term than Karel Vejmelka. If you actually look at Vejmelka's recent starts, he gives up the 5 spot and gets pulled in his last start against the LA Kings. He gives up 6 to St. Louis in that game. So he's had some rough starts here in a couple of these. 4 goals for Washington against him. He's had some good games too, but the last 2 of the last 3, he's had a little bit of a rougher go of it for the Coyotes in that. So I think we could see enough goals. And again, with this total being 6 as opposed to 6.5, I do like this game over the total. One constant with Arizona. Look at this team defensively. You talk about shot suppression. This team's never heard of the phrase shot suppression. I mean, they're giving up way too many shots on goal. Their goaltenders are seeing way too much rubber. Way too much. And, a lot of games they're getting away with it, but look at these numbers. 36 shots allowed to Columbus, 37 to Los Angeles, 47 to Tampa Bay when Connor Ingram was just, Marty Brodeur in his prime that night against the Tampa Bay Lightning. 31 shots allowed to Nashville, 37 to St. Louis, 44 to Chicago, 35 to Minnesota, 45 to Anaheim. I mean, they are giving up a shit ton of shots. So, I'm not much of a goalie saves prop guy, but Vejmelka over saves makes some sense to me tonight. I mean, over 32.5 saves, I could see it. Though, because the one thing Calgary's doing is look at Calgary. You talk about an Arizona team that's given up a shit ton of shots. Look at Calgary in terms of the shots for 35, 32, 35, 37, 40, 36 in their recent games. So, definitely you feel that he's going to be facing a lot of pucks tonight, a lot of rubber. So that's worth a look. Backlund over shots on goal is worth a look. Toffoli, same fucking guys we've talked about with Calgary with the shots on goal. Toffoli and Backlund are worth a look tonight for shots on goal. They absolutely are with the way they've been firing the puck lately. Dubé props. Dubé continues to get involved and be definitely a difference maker for the Flames. He's really played some good hockey for them lately. Can't always trust some of these other guys to can produce offensively consistently game in and game out, but Dubé is the one guy that definitely does that. His point prop is worth a look. He has 8 points in the last 5 games for the Calgary Flames, 4 goals in the last 5 games as well for the Flames. So back on any Dylan Dubé props as well. Plus 230 to score a goal. He's also plus 190, plus 200 even in some places for an assist. But the best one is the point prop on Dubé. Dubé is only minus 115 to minus 120 to get a point. It is a great price, excellent price on Dylan Dubé to get a point for a guy that has 8 in the last 5 games. 8 points in the last 5 games, and we're only minus 120 for him to get a point tonight against the Arizona Coyotes. What do you think here in this one, Alex? Flames and Coyotes.
Yeah, this is a true Alex B. Smith special here. I'm going first period over and the draw. So I laid at $1.35 with the 1.5. We've seen Calgary 7-2 the last 9 to the first period over. They should have gotten over, well over in that last game against the Flyers. A lot of people said, and I agree, it should have at least been a 2-2 contest after 20 minutes. The chances that we're going back and forth. A clean breakaway that was missed. It was just a lot of comedy of errors that led to that over not cashing in. So we're hopping right back on that trend as well. And these two teams, the last 6 meetings between them, 4-2, have gone over in the first period. And Arizona, I think we're starting to see that defense break down a little bit. As you mentioned, they've been, facing Vejmelka's facing a lot of rubber. And we talked about it a little bit last night, how, I think he's a good goalie. Some others think he's an elite goalie. I wouldn't agree to that, but I think he is good. But at the same time, I don't care how good you are. You're facing 40, 50 shots night in, night out. You're not going to stop all of them. 3, 4, 5 of them will get past you, especially with a leaky blue line, which Arizona does have. Calgary, obviously the pace is on them, the pressure is on them to play a full game. But like you said, they've been playing tight contests, and so have Arizona. So I like the draw here at plus 385. It's worth a small sprinkle, but I also like this first period over. I think we see at least a couple of goals here early in the contest.
Another reason I think, too, I like the full game over in this game here for Calgary, Arizona, is because of the injuries mounting on their blue line as well. Now, Shillington's been out, but they've been interchanging Connor Mackey and Dennis Gilbert. And now you've got a situation, too, where Michael Stone is on IR for them. And people will yawn when they see, oh, Michael Stone's out. Michael Stone's been really good for the Calgary Flames this year. He's got a plus-minus rating. It's in the plus. You know, he's been very steady in his own end. He's a very, very good player in his own zone, a good depth defenseman. He's on IR now, so you got to play, obviously, the likes of Zadorov and Gilbert more often. Tanev, who's, look, a warrior back there on that blue line for Calgary, but more minutes for him at his age and with all the injuries he's had is not always a good thing. Weegar has been lately worrisome to me with some of the blunders he's made. He got caught at the blue line against Philadelphia on what was the game-winning goal for them the other night, and left, there's Allison all by his lonesome there to tap in the game-winning goal. He basically hung his partner, Zadorov, out to dry. So definitely concerns about the way Uyghur's defended lately. And then, of course, Hannafin and Anderson are their top pair, but, they're already being worn out with shit ton of minutes every single game. So definitely keep an eye on that going into tonight. I got a feeling, too, one thing about the Coyotes, they give up a lot of point shots. So maybe this is a night for, your Rasmus Anderson, Noah Hannafin top pair, maybe even to go over their shots on goal prop as well. I might even sprinkle on Hannafin to get a point at plus 115, plus 120. And if you really want to get bold, plus 560 on Noah Hannafin to score a goal from the blue line. Because the one thing about Arizona is a lot of shots given up to blue liners. And you look at Hannafin, he did have 2 assists, 2 points against Philadelphia, jumping into the play in that game quite a bit. And if you go back to look at his last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, Hannafin has a respectable 6 points in those last 8 games for the Calgary Flames. And here he is playing a team that gives up a lot of shots to defensemen. And here he is just to get a point tonight, plus 115 or so. So, it's a nice little prop, I think, there. Hannafin for the Calgary Flames to get a point, plus 115 tonight. All right, there we go. That's the Wednesday card. Giving you a lot of props. It's more of a prop night for me rather than side and total. But we'll see what we can do, see if we can have some winning results with the 3-game NHL slate. Shout out to everyone in our live YouTube chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Almost 200 live viewers. We appreciate that. And a shout out to our podcast listeners as well. We'll be back. And by the way, patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month. Yes, we've got our, of course, daily Ice Guys show betting card there. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, and more video content. We've got Q&A with Alex and I from last week that was posted, the Jimmy Murphy Rink Tales, and tomorrow, making its debut premiere on the Patreon page, the broadcaster rankings. Every team's local TV broadcast crew ranked in the NHL from 32 all the way to number 1. 2 hours we did with that video. 2 hours of talk about all the broadcasters, the TV broadcast teams in the NHL. So it's a great piece. If you're into that kind of stuff like I am, you will certainly enjoy it. That'll be on our Patreon page tomorrow for our exclusive subscribers and members. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month.
Yeah, tomorrow will be a great day to just kind of peruse through the entire Ice Guys universe, essentially, because we've got the show tomorrow during the day. We've got if you haven't caught the 2 previous Patreon exclusive videos, you can catch those. Of course, we got the announcers tomorrow, which is a 2-hour episode. That's a good one to kind of lay back in and enjoy and watch. And then also iceguys.myspreadshop.com starting tomorrow all the way until the 27th, you'll have 15% off everything in the store. So we had people in the Betcast last night rocking the hoodies, rocking the hats. We love seeing that. We want to see more of that. So get on out and check out the Ice Guys store online, and also check out the Patreon page as well.
There you go. Great stuff. Check all that out. The Patreon page, subscribe there, and check out the Ice Guys store as well. Back with best bets right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, our good friends at Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, courtesy of the Ice Guys. Get 20% off of any purchase and free worldwide shipping with the promo code Ice Guys. That's promo code Ice Guys, all one word, ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 400 million balls that you can help preserve with manscaped.com using the promo code Ice Guys. You get the Performance Package 4.0. It is a game changer. The Lawnmower 4.0. It takes care of this, among other things. It'll keep you trim as can be. The Lawnmower 4.0, waterproof. Same thing with the Weed Whacker, which takes care of your ear hair, nose hair. I mean, nose hair in particular. You know, I'm getting up there in age, and nose hair is becoming definitely more of an issue. This will take care of it. It feels like someone's tickling the inside of your nostrils sometimes. It pisses the hell out of me. It bothers me. I need to take care of that shit. This will take care of it for you. The Weed Whacker makes part of the package that you get with your Manscaped purchase and the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. You also get the ball toner. You also get the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good and looking good and feeling good down in the nether regions. This package is really going to make you feel good and look good and look better, slim, trim. That's what it's all about. And manscaped.com can help you out with that. So make sure you take advantage of this. Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Ice Guys at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the promo code Ice Guys. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, we're back here on the Ice Guys, and we are ready for best bets here for this Wednesday edition of the show. Alex, 3 games, not a lot to choose from, but what do you like for best bet?
No, but what I'm going to go with the Blackhawks Stars draw at plus 480. That's just such an insane number for, like I said, a team that 6 of the last 9 games have gone past 60 minutes. The Hawks, 2 of the last 3. They've been super competitive, especially when Jackson Starber's in that. This is a young kid that is making a name for himself with every quality start that he's turned in. And Dallas has just been scuffling right now. And, they're going to put in a solid effort, too. It should be a fun one to watch. Big national TV game. I think it goes a little bit longer than 60. So let's go Chicago, Dallas, draw. Plus 480. That's my best bet for Wednesday night.
All right, there it is. Chicago, Dallas, draw. Plus 480. One hell of a price there on that for Alex with his best bet. My best bet, we're going to go to Calgary, Arizona. I like over 6 minus 120. Again, I think we'll see enough goals there to push that game over the total. A lot of these unders that Arizona's having have been fool's gold unders because they've stayed under in spite of the fact, like I say, they're surrendering 30, 40 shots a game. Eventually, you're going to have a game where you're just not sustainable to keep the goals against down when you're giving up that many shots, that many looks. If Amelka hasn't been nearly as good the last few starts, I think Arizona at home can find the back of the net here. Vladar obviously has had a nice couple months, but even with Vladar, a couple of his last starts have not been as good. So I think Arizona finds the back of the net. So does Calgary. Enough anyway. I know they can have a bunch of shots themselves and they don't score enough given the chances and the shots they get, but I think they'll do enough as well over the total here. Over 6 minus 120 with Calgary and Arizona for my best bet. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.